Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. During this session, I will be giving you useful information about working in Malta. At the end of this presentation, I will also share with you our contact details just in case you have any queries for EURES Malta. So let's start. Salaries. Salaries in Malta are always quoted in gross, so it is important for you to keep in mind when you come across a vacancy that the salary mentioned is the gross salary. This is the salary amount before tax and national insurance deductions. If you would like to work out your net salary, you can use an online salary calculator. Just type in online Malta salary calculator and many will come up. Just to have a brief idea of how much net salary you will receive at the end of the month once taxes and national insurances are deducted. Just for you to know that the national minimum wage in Malta for people aged 18 years and over is €229 44 per week. This is just the national minimum wage. Many vacancies and many positions pay more than the national minimum wage. Of course, this is just the line which an employer cannot go below, just to give you an idea of the national minimum wage in Malta. Wage regulation orders also exist in Malta and these cover various industries, for example, retail, construction, healthcare, and so on. So I would suggest that if you look wage regulation orders, you look them up on Google, these will come up. Just type in wage regulation orders in Malta and make sure that if you are going to work in an industry which falls under one of these regulation orders, you take a look at the document so for you to be informed about your rights once you start working in that particular industry. Every employee in Malta also receives four government bonuses per year. There's the statutory bonus, which is paid in June and December, and an individual receives €135 and 10 cents in June and in December. Whilst there's also the weekly allowance, which is paid in March and in September. So in March, we receive €121 and 16 cents with our salary, and we receive that amount again in September. General conditions of work. So, all employment in Malta should be covered by a contract. Your employer must give you a contract which you both sign, and contracts can either be definite or indefinite. Definite contracts mean that this contract expires, for example, it is for 1 year, 2 years, and so on. Or else, if it is an indefinite contract, it means that the contract does not expire. All employment should be registered by the employer with Jobs Plus using an engagement form. This is a legal requirement and both the employer and the employee receives an acknowledgement letter or email once this is done. So this is the responsibility of the employer, but just keep an eye out once you start working in Malta to make sure that you receive an acknowledgement letter from Jobs Plus to ensure that your employment has been registered. If a few weeks after you start working in Malta, you notice that you still did not receive this form, this acknowledgement form, email EURES Malta so that we can check whether your employment has been registered with Jobs Plus. Generally, full-time working hours in Malta are 40 hours per week, but this also depends on wage regulation orders because there are some industries which have different working hours in Malta, maximum working hours, sorry. So just take a look at the wage regulation order so you can be informed about this as well. All employees in Malta should have at least 1 day off per week. Any hours worked over and above these 40 hours per week in this case are considered to be overtime and are normally paid at the rate of 1.5 hour salary for 1 hour worked. Sundays and public holidays would normally attract a higher rate of overtime. All new employment will have a probation period in Malta, and it is important to note that the probation period is paid. So, once you start working in Malta, the employer cannot say, I'm going to try you out to see if you are going to perform well in this job, and if you do, you will keep this job, and I'm not going to pay you for this trial period. No, a trial period does not exist in Malta. We have what we call the probation period, so you will start receive your salary from day one of your employment, and during your probation period, your employer will see whether you fit in the job, whether you're doing a right job, and you will also get to see whether you really like this position and whether you would like to stay in that particular job over and above the probation period. The length of the probation period is specified in the contract and is normally 6 months long. For more senior positions, for managerial grades and so on, you can have a longer probation period, for example, a 1 year probation period. The probation period cannot be longer than the maximum period as established by law. When terminating your employment after the probation period, notice periods specified by law apply, and these vary depending on how long you have been working with that particular company. So, for example, if you have worked for less than 1 month, you have worked for a few days, there's no notice period attached to it. If you have worked for 1 month but up to 6 months, you have 1 week notice. If you have worked for 6 months but up to 2 years with that particular employer, you have 2 weeks of notice. Between 2 years and 4 years, you have 4 weeks notice. Between 4 years and 7 years, you need to work 8 weeks notice. And from 7 years up, you need to work an additional 1 week as notice period for every subsequent year of service for up to a maximum of 12 weeks. You cannot work more than 12 weeks as notice period. Leave entitlement in Malta. So all employees are entitled to vacation leave in Malta, and this amount can vary over the years because when we have a lot of public holidays falling in the weekends, we get more vacation leave hours added to our normal vacation leave bonus. But this is approximately around 26 days or else 208 hours of paid leave for full-time employees. People who are working on a part-time or reduced basis, these also have uh, leave, and they receive this as pro rata. Employees are also entitled to other types of leave, for example, bereavement leave, marriage leave on the birth of a child, and so on and so forth. The wage regulation orders also contain details on types of leave and other specific conditions. Employees are also eligible after their first 6 months of employment for paid sick leave. This is generally equivalent to about 15 days full pay and further 36 days at half pay. Periods of sick leave need to be certified by a medical certificate. This is the blue certificate which the doctor gives you. So in Malta there is an entity which is responsible for all matters relating to the conditions of work, and this is the Department of Industrial and Employment Relations, or DIER. The DIER also assists with disputes and issues between employers and employees. The DIER works with the EU and the International Labour Organization involved in the employment and in the industrial relations field. Their website is dir.gov.mt, and if you have any questions about conditions of work, you can email them on info.dir@gov.mt. If you have any questions for EURES, you can email us on eures.jobsplus@gov.mt. Our websites are jobsplus.gov.mt and eures.com.mt. We are also very active on social media, so you can go to Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, type in EURES Malta, our page will come up. Just click like and you will be able to message us directly on social media. And we are thanks a lot for your attention. Goodbye for now.